Yeah, I know there's a shadow on my face. It's the... I need to fix that light. That should do it. Echo Versky, I would really love to be able to fund the next casino war, but I am not that space rich. So if you guys give me just a few moments to get everything tweeted and all the goodness. Sorry guys, trying to get the last... Thought I'd have all the buttons pressed, and I'm just not fast enough. And shh, don't tell anyone I'm actually playing Eve. The super exciting thing of trying to figure out what's actually worth any money in this pile. And I know some of you guys out there are going to be really mad when you figure out that I'm basically saying either I can get paid right now, or it's got to be worth more than 50 mil for me to actually give a shit about managing the order. Don't do what I'm doing. This is purely a, I do not have enough fucks to deal with this. Oh, and BPO trash, like, that is, there's so many of these freaking blueprints that just I'm never ever gonna use, and like even if I was gonna go replace them, they're so cheap that like why don't I just buy them over again. Like, I don't mean to be 1% here, just that, like, if I'm going to keep blueprints around, they either need to be extremely well researched or they need to be hard to get my hands on. And like those are all rig blueprints, and they're only singleton. So like even if I wanted to go use them in production, I'd need to buy doubles anyway, and like it kills me that they're worth like 50 mil a piece, because I should figure out how to liquidate them, but I can't figure out, like I gotta go figure out who I can sell them to in a bulk order for like half price, because yeah, it's just not worth the effort. And I mean, if somebody out there on stream really wants a bunch of capital rig blueprints, then I'm more than happy to wheel and deal, because, you know, at least somebody should get mileage out of them. But there's just so many of these motherfuckers, and it's so hard to do anything with it. But like, for instance, I've never seen this before where somebody gave me capital blueprints and they're not researched. I mean, you can stack them. What the fuck? Who the fuck has unresearched capital parts blueprints? Like, seriously. It's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. Like, I have all these capital rigs, and they should be worth something. The thing says they're worth something. But they're like each 3 million or 10 million, and they sell like one a week. So, Jesus, like, I'm supposed to sit here all day, managing to try and sell the 1 unit a week that these things are worth for 10 million a unit? Like, fuck that. Oh my god, I can't believe I have all this shit. All of this shit. Oh, you can't even reprocess them? Oh, fuck you. Oh, double fuck you. Bye. But yeah, like this stuff, so much of this stuff is just old garbage, right? Oh shit! I don't want to sell that. But like, so this is the thing I was ranting about on my on the latest show is, or not even the latest show, that like, man, this game cycle is so pissing me off. It just feels so antiquated, and it's such a pain in the ass to deal with. And like, I can't just throw it away. It's that some of this stuff is valuable, and some of it's worth keeping, and just yeah. That, I mean, Echo, I already did a lot of that. Like we're already past like the 80% mark, to be honest. Like, I have to go get the stuff moved and centralized and all that goodness. So like, I'm already going through a lot of this. So like, I already have a couple of contract vultures on the line for picking up some of this stuff, and that's fine. Like, I'm happy to go give them that, because it does come down to what's my fucking time worth. But yeah. But yeah, like for instance, I have these almost 600 units of mining director here from somebody's quitting contract. And like, oh, I can get rid of 50 more of them, sweet. But like, there aren't enough buy orders to take it, you know? Oh shit, spiced wine was another weird one. Nope, can't get rid of it yet. can't even sell the fucking militants. God damn it. But yeah, like these warnings about, oh, there's no order for that. I'm like, yeah, I know there isn't. If there was, I would have sold to that. But yeah, like the management here just becomes so tedious, especially with the 1ISK orders. And then I get this warning about, oh, it's 1,000,000% higher because nobody sells these, and like, I just wish the guy who, like, this has been more of a curse than a gift at sometimes. I mean, this comes right back to my rant about volumes, because, like, you shouldn't get into this trap. Like, I shouldn't be here with this mess because, well, I should have picked stuff that had actual volumes behind them, as opposed to these onesie twosie little things that might have margin, but like, if nobody gives you money, it doesn't count for anything. It's worthless if you can't find somebody to buy it. So, like, the moral of the story today is that you should be very careful about volumes on this stuff. Like, I'm sitting here with, let's look at this one. So I'm sitting here with 4 units. I've had 4 units up for almost 2 weeks. We go look at the price history, and there is almost no sales in this thing. Like, even if we go all the way to raw, can I go to raw? Is there, wait, there, table. Like, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Like there have been no sold this week. Last one sold was at the start of April. Like, this is fucking ridiculous. But it's worth enough that, you know, you sit here and go, well, do I really want to eat 60 million? Times 4 is what, 120 something? Like, fuck that shit. So, like, that's my warning here, is that even though this says it's worth $6.5 billion, I don't know if that's showing up. That's probably not showing up. It says it's worth $6.5 billion. Like, am I ever going to see that money? Am I ever going to actually get that $6.5 billion? So yeah, that's where we're sitting today. And if you guys are watching at home, like yeah, I am sitting on a big pile of Plex, and I've got some other stuff I'm holding on to in the long term. Wait a sec. Where the fuck did they go? Are they in here? I swear I put... Yeah, this is where everything is. Okay. Was worried I lost my my yachts. Gotta have my yachts. And so now I gotta go all the way out to motherfucking heck to go pick up one last load of this bullshit. Oh shit, there's still stuff here. Fuck. No, we're not going there because there's more bullshit to deal with. There's all of this to deal with. But yeah, like this need to repackage everything gets really tiresome. The multi-cell is nice, but like I don't have a button to go look at the thing. Like I could go ahead and say multi-cell, right? But like the best I get are these little fucking tabs here that don't really tell me what I need to know. And I can't, and when I go click on the item, like, what I want as a trader is to go into the market window. Like, I want to click on this, and instead it goes me to the fucking info window. I gotta right-click and go to view market detail to actually get the fucking shit on it. Like, that's the thing that pisses me off here, is that the stuff I need to check, the stuff I really give a shit about, there's this UI is useless. It doesn't tell me, like, this modifier here, we all know it's bullcrap. Like, I guess the arrow opens up the thing, which is nice to know. Thank you for the tip, Hetty Eve. But, like, that should be here, man. Like, it should be over here. Like, my over tip should be not best regional, but best local. It should match my frickin' filter here. That says here, like, this half measures are almost worse than doing nothing at all, you know? And like, we were talking about this on Talking in Stations last night. Oh, what are the talons? I can never remember what these do. Oh yeah, these are I don't need these. But like, yeah, I and nobody's doing full things. But it gets so fucking tedious to check this shit and deal with it. And I don't know why, like, this keeps me from wanting to do this on a daily basis. Okay, that one needs to change. it gets to be a pain in the ass, and yeah, I just don't find it super enjoyable. I mean, I need the cash because cash is more valuable than stuff. And most of my complaint comes from this annoyance that the guy who you know, I appreciate gifts, but like that was it's definitely a case of a gypsy curse more than anything. Do I use Eleanor Mentat to get the current buy-sell prices on a clipboard? So I have been a spreadsheet junkie. I usually make my own tools. That's more of a my words. It's my neurosis more than anything. I can understand where it works, but like I didn't build them into a workflow personally. So yeah, if it works for you, do what works for you. It seems I filled somebody's buy order and they sent me a thank you. That's hilarious. Anytime. Please feel free to make money off of my bad attitude. Like, yeah, this, like, again, this is a me problem that I have a bad attitude and I just want to get cash money. Oh, I do have transport ships 5. That's why this is so fucking zippy. Alright, so we're gonna let that run in the background while I get some fucking work done. Well, and one of the things that was really bothering me is there's a whole, like, I have a whole ton of these half-filled, you know, T2 BPCs, and I was like, oh, you know, what would be really cool is to, like, as a going away thing, just blast through them and you know, clean up the hangar, make an extra, you know, 10% off the whatever. And I kept putting them in the calculator, and I'm like, this is a bad fucking idea. Like, none of it just made money. Even if I shipped it out to the what is it? The Eve Mogul Satoyo, but like I was just like, god damn it, I'm not pulling up a spreadsheet. I just wanted to like buy the stuff, take a hauler, move over there, put a bunch of orders in, you know, do a last hurrah, build spree. But like none of the blueprints I have make money without doing a whole bunch of extra work. And I'm like, okay, you know, this is I guess this is the efficient market hypothesis doing its job. It's frustrating. It's not really angry with it. I'm annoyed with how little time I have to deal with it. And I have some gifts to go send out to some people to like get some of these actually working, because I might have a large BPO collection, but that's just by sheer volume, not by value. Like, I have 4 or 5 complete sets of, and when I say complete, I mean 10 units apiece. So I have like 50 of each of the component blueprints, for instance, all research perfect. And I've got hundreds and hundreds of T1 item and small ship blueprints that are like, okay, they're probably worth money in the aggregate, but it's like 10 million here, 50 million there, and nobody wants to buy them because, you know, who gives a shit? So it's frustrating dealing with the stuff. And then I was liquidating some of the brains on some of my tertiary accounts, which was fun. That they really need to be able to load in to say, I'm going to use like 5 or 6 of these injectors. Please just let me just put a whole bunch in the system and then queue them out, because it was like, oh, select it, fill it, dump it, select it, fill it, dump it, select it, fill it, dump it, which got to be annoying. There, is that the cinematic camera? So I mean, we're making good progress here. Like, we're going to be sitting on 70 billion by the time it's done. That lets me go do everything I wanted and still have a cash reserve for filling out our Plex backlog, because I still want to be able to do pull requests for Plex. I still think that that's worthwhile. Grash, I think it's just under 2 injectors per Plex. Or 4. I don't remember what the conversion rate was. They're like 2. No, it's actually more than that. Because they were selling for 3. I bought mine at 350 or something, or 300, and then I sold for 650. Like, I was doing just the grossest calculations of like, is it profitable? Let me actually make sure that I'll get the things I want. Like, and I went ahead and liquidated back when the ISK per skill point was just a tiny bit better. So but yeah, I was liquidating alt industrial accounts, because if I need them back again, like, I'll inject them again, to be honest. Like, to be completely fair right now, I'd rather get as much as possible into liquid cash, so that if there's anything I want to do, I can just execute it rather than having to convert. There's nothing, either it needs to be in liquid cash or it needs to be in Plex, because that might as well be liquid cash. Also, I keep getting asked this when it comes to the Plex split in just a couple of weeks, in less than 10 days, is that, what am I expecting? I'm expecting a 15% dive, which puts us at 1.1 to 990 traditional Plex price. So I'm sitting on a cash pile to go buy a chunk of these things, hoping for a sub-billion personally. and expecting things to rise over the summer, especially with how much cash is coming out of Delve. I really expect us to be back at the 1.3, 1.4 kind of price point by the end of the summer, depending on how many Eva's dying posts we have to read. So let's do some real work. That button. And I mean, not to be super obnoxious, like one of the things. So today's project is to get the Plex split dealt with. Because what I really want you to go do is I want people using the new profit endpoint to basically do mutual fund work where you bet on 10 things using the tool, you win on 8 or 9 of them, and even the one you lose on, you're basically breaking even, or maybe you're losing 1% to fees when everything else is making 15%. Like, and you let the tool help pick your products. There we go. So, like, the idea I had in my brain, and you're not going to get it from me because I don't have the time, is that like you scrape my endpoint for 100 core items, from minerals to moon goo to common ships. You put those all in a tool that says what's the best price, best buy and sell prices for the next 15 days, 30 days, 45 days, and 60 days, and then you use that to pick out what is worth going into. And so of the 100 or 200 items you're tracking, you pick 10 and basically do a rotating thing, waiting for the graph to be correct. You execute, and then it tells you it can tell you a date it thinks that best price will be on, and you follow through on that. Again, this is that I've given you the hard part of predicting, and then it's the matter of somebody going through the data to actually make a quick buck. Like, I'm only going to get you so far. But every time I go to someone, I go to these market people, and I'm like, hey, look at, like, here, I'll pull it up on the thing because I can illustrate. Like, so we're at what, getting close to the 60 days, so we're deviating. So for instance, this performance has been halfway decent. Let's see what it thinks the latest prediction is supposed to be. But it still thinks that we're going to hit 100, 90 or 100 ISK in mid-May, right? And we're deviating at the moment. We're not outside of the bars yet, though. So just like this, you can put Trit in here. Trit is not as well behaved. Helps to press the right button. But like, Adam for Eve is already doing a lot of the R squared analysis you got to do. If you wanted to be super try hard, you might want to put R squared analysis on some of these back things. If you really want to do that, then call me and we can talk about it. Because I'm not storing these calculations day after day. They get wiped out every time somebody asks for them. But yeah, you can come in here and you can do let's do. I bet nobody's done this. So it's going to take 20 seconds to actually do the price forecast. Or no, it's actually being tracked. So yeah, it's not perfect, but as a robot that's doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you, it's compelling. It's definitely interesting. So yeah, that's what I would end up doing. Let's see, what the other one I want to do would be like. And so we got to wait for the predictor to actually predict. But like we have a positive outlook here. We have not a lot of downward buy pressure here in the buys. We have an upward thing that if we bought out through it, we could be at 3.4 or 3.5. Like that's not a bad strategy. And over the next month, it thinks, well, we're going to be up in general. So to try and buy in a 2.5 to 2.6 buy order down here, and then aim for a 3.5, 3.6. Don't know if that's exactly the 10%, but yeah, this is like that would be a buy in my book. This would be in my little notepad. Oh, I should buy nanotransistors. I should jump in here maybe in the 2.6 under 2.6 to try and grab some of these downward dips, and then aim for higher, try to get and wait for the rise to come out. Now this doesn't tell you a jump out date, unfortunately. It's doing the divergent cone where this behavior is kind of is an I don't know from the robot, unfortunately. But yeah. Ocarus, I'm not giving you an API key if you're actually going to just hook it up to a bot. But yeah, the idea is that you mix a trading portfolio with a bunch of positive outlooks, and the idea being that even if you lose, you're going to only lose maybe 1%. Like you're not gonna go nuts losing. But all of the wins and gains are going to make up for it. And so you mix 10 or 15 items in a basket according to what the bot helps you see, and then you just sit around and wait. And you can still leverage something like a cross market arbitrage strategy to add your extra few points, so that even in the worst case scenario, um, you can play the Dodixie Jita margin to help even further um, hedge your losses. And it was more that I wanted to be able to give people a way to feel more secure in speculating, that like it's going to be very best for the people who want to go on to a site like Adam for Eve and try to understand what the buttons do. Like what I read out of this may not be inherently obvious to a lot of the community, um, and to have the bot as sort of a gut uh, a gut backup kind of thing is what I really enjoy about this kind of thing. So uh, it breaks my heart that so many Eve people talk and talk and talk about how, oh, I'm just not smart enough to do market stuff. Like it just goes all over my head. Um, it's black magic, when honestly most of the people are just making it up as they fucking go along. And, it doesn't take that much to actually make a quick buck. It just takes some research, and you might have to go learn how to spreadsheet. And I know spreadsheets are scary, but like you devour the world one bite at a time, kind of thing. Hey there, McGlow. We are working on the Prosper API, trying to bring up the split. Be ready for the Plex split. So we're working through that. So McLeod is asking, why is the Plex split 500 and not 1000 or 100? Um, is that it turns out like the best Plex split could possibly be is something like 750. That like that's the best divisor. There was a talk about it on Talking in Stations like right after the announcement came out. So there was an ex-dev who did a lot of work on a lot of that stuff, who was waxing on about it. I don't think 500's that weird a number. Like, at least we're not getting like the Microsoft Space Points thing where it was something like 80 points per dollar, and it was easy to have weird slippage rates. Like 500's at least round enough to count for something. We're not even that complicated yet. Just hold on, boys. I think I'm eating half of it with my overlay here. So let's see. Okras is asking that this looks complicated, and to be honest, it looks harder than it actually is. So, just to be simple here, we're going to ignore all the magic method stuff. I have this container here, this split info. So I have the split info container that I'm using to load with information about a split. And then I've got a file of split information that I'm going to go load into it. And we're loading from that file all of the special stuff. If you want to be a real Pythonista, you just write straight from the object into the Dunderdict, but there's some stuff I want to do before that. Like, I probably could do all of this checking inside Dunderdict, but I don't want to load the thing before I check it. If anything goes wrong, like we get a non-integer split value, or we get an invalid date, I want to go ahead and flag that as a problem. And then I have to recast the true and false strings to true and false values. If you put something that's not true or false, I need to go put a thing in there. So nothing super hard here. Next, we're going to need tests for that. And Yamona is asking what's my real life job. I do test tool development at a security firm. And so it's all Python all the time here. So we're going to go ahead and load from file. We put a thing in here to do that. We initialize all the variables we're going to use, and then we have this loader if I actually get it. We're going to do a pile of asserts to make sure that these values equal these values. So Anonymous on YouTube is asking, what is Eve Prosper? We are, the elevator pitch I give to non-Eve people is it's like Mad Money with none of the enthusiasm. We try to forecast and talk about the market every week. The bad news is that if you're just tuning in now, I'm retiring in 6 weeks. So sorry about that. But we build all of our own tools. All of the graphs are made in-house. I encourage you to go check out. Links should be down below on our account about previous shows, and you can come check out our Discord where we can talk about graph porn and all that stuff. So if markets and economy stuff is your bag, then this is your show. quick break while we look at dumb Eve stuff for a second. Fuck. No, I don't think I want the capital one. No. And I mean, not to put too fine a point on it for my retirement, is that I don't intend to keep playing Eve either. I mean, nobody truly quits Eve, right? But like the amount of work that goes into this show is like nearing halfway towards starting up my own consultancy, you know? So I'd rather be able to put that work into something bigger and brighter. I mean, I still enjoy the streaming part of this, and I still enjoy the dev fleet community. It's twice as big as it needs to be. And I mean, I'd like to come back to streaming in the fall, but I'd rather focus on real life stuff. I'd really rather convert the show into a developer talk, perhaps real life economics, real life data science, something in a partially derivative, or trending towards 538. Oh my god, fucking hell. Because, like, to be honest, like, and this is going to sound like I'm shitting on the Eve community, and I really don't mean that. We have a wonderful community here, and there's no other game like Eve that could scratch that itch. But, like, honestly, this show doesn't have much more room to grow. There just aren't. We've reached most of the audience that we're going to reach, and like, if we're going to get above 5,000 subs, if we're going to get above $250 a month on the Patreon, if we're going to get above 1,000 subscribe, if we're going to get above the 2,000 subscribers in Twitter, if we're going to get closer to partnership on Twitch, like, Eve can't get us there. And that's the sort of sad calculus going on here, is that, like, there's only so far we can grow here. And even rejiggering for this to be PvP, like, I don't have the hours. I just don't, like, PvPing is like fishing, and so I have to spend 4 or 5 hours a week running around to try and do solo, or building up a whole new audience in a whole new realm, like it doesn't help my profession. It doesn't help my like Eve Prosper got me my job. And I love my boss and the work I do over there, but like it's getting harder and harder to keep aligned with work projects and Prosper projects and grow the project. Like one of these things is not like the other, unfortunately. And I don't mean to be this as a down on the Eve community, but this is a niche of a niche. Like fake internet economies in a not so popular MMO is in the hardest MMO out there, is a very, very specialized clientele. So I would like to, I do enjoy, like I said, I do enjoy streaming, I do enjoy broadcasting, I do enjoy podcasting, but I would really rather move towards the Python dev sphere. I'd rather move towards the data science sphere. I'd rather move towards maybe data for democracy. There's a lot of other projects that this time and talent could be yielding more growth in. And it comes down to growth, and I hate to be such a numbers guy, but that's why you guys tune in, is because I am a numbers guy. Also, like, if I may rant for just a second, I have been annoyed at some of the well, okay, so one, I'm annoyed at the anime war thing, that everybody's talking a big talk and nobody fucking shoots each other, which that's pissing me off. Two, that there's I never wanted to be the number one. I never wanted to be, well, I mean, we all want to be number one, but like I never wanted to be the only economic show. And despite trying to encourage others to grow the economic sphere with me, a lot of people just come back with, well, but Eve Prosper is like the best and I could never beat Eve Prosper. And I'm like, one, it's not about beating anybody, right? Like, it's not about winning a thing, because it turns out there is just so much hunger for this stuff that you can watch Eve Prosper and Eve Talk and Minor Metrics and a new show that may not exist yet. Like, there are hundreds of hours in a week, and I take up 3 of them at most if you watch the whole show, 45 minutes if you don't. And I actually expect people to watch the show at 1.5 speed. So even then, I'm only taking up 30 minutes of what could possibly be a 3-hour budget of economic shows. And there's totally room for somebody doing the 5,000 ISK challenge, and there's totally room for somebody doing technical analysis reads on graphs to try and use real-life technical analysis in Eve. And there's totally room for an industrialist who shows off their spreadsheet week over week. And there's room for space truckers and people running shipping empires. But, like, there are a lot of people not doing that because, well, I do this, and there's just obviously no more room for people to do anything after that. And I'm just disappointed. So I hate to be a downer. It's complicated. It's so complicated. It really comes down to what am I getting for my time? What should I be working on? And like, if I can make this work in space, then why can't I make it work for a career? Like, why can't I take the same demystifying approach that I've taken to Eve stuff to the real life market, so we could actually learn something profitable? Why can't I take it to the news sphere, so that we can start doing 538 grade reporting and become experts at something. Why can't I I really want to go make natural language processing bots, but there's nothing for those to do in Eve, other than learn how to be a Nazi shit poster. Like, I have so much to do, and I want to go do bigger things. And if you would watch me do real life stuff, then you should stay subscribed, because I fully intend to, I intend to come back. I'm not going to stop broadcasting. Like, I really do enjoy the broadcasting stuff. I do enjoy doing that, but there are so many pieces of this that I can't leverage. Like, I can't gate on the Patreon, because I'd be breaking the EULA, for instance, on a big part of it. But if I were doing a dev show and I delayed the show by a week, well, all of a sudden I'm making content that is timeless. Like a news show, you can't time gate it, but an editorial show, you absolutely can. Or if I wanted to make APIs so that you could leverage some of our data, right now, if I tried to sell whitelist keys, I'd be probably on the wrong side of the EULA. But if I go and I make a Twitter bot and I make a REST endpoint, and you say, well, if you go look at Bot or Not, for instance, then I could say, well, you know what? You give me $10 a month through Patreon, you can use your keys from there on the thing, and as long as you're paid up there, go nuts. And there's more opportunities to do wider stuff. Mostly because I get really skeevy about making money off of other people's products. I really want to go build out platforms of my products, and I want to build my brand on top of my work and be able to sell that off and say, look, you know what, you come here and I'll pipe you all this hot and fresh data, and if you want to contribute, then I can there's stuff to contribute to. And if you want to be a if you really want to get at the top tiers of Patreon, or you want to really get to levels where I might be able to do partnership programs where that's how all of the review shows make their money. A good chunk of their money is through the Amazon, affiliates thing. And though I don't think I'd be able to sell anything Amazon affiliate, I might be able to partner into a thing that says, hey, if you go buy these classes, or if you go buy this book, there are things that we could be doing. And I hate to make it all about the money, but I really want to go build a personal brand. And part of that personal brand is, how can it be monetized? And I don't really want to monetize Eve, because that just makes me sort of a shithole. It's kind of just a shitty thing to try and sit here and say, I really want to grow the Patreon. I really want to double our Patreon, and I'm going to go gate this content here, and only our greatest fans will be able to get into it, and the brand building, blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, except then CCP is going to come around with the ban hammer and shit all over my stuff, and I won't get anything for it. I'll just end up burning myself out on somebody else's IP. Whereas if it's my IP, if it's my classes or my book or my code in my environment, then I have something that I can say, look, I do all of this work. I do all this great stuff. And if you enjoy it, you should give me $1. And if you want to get better access to it, you should give me several bucks. If you want me to come talk at your company about why Python is amazing, like that's a thing I want to be able to do, and I just can't. Can't do that with just Eve. And that's the thing that's breaking my heart, is that I love you guys. I love doing this week over week. It really means a lot, but like, just don't have the hours, and I need to double down. So yeah, that's where we are. Yeah, and Anonymous, I feel your pain there, because for the last couple of years I've been trying to get down to where I can do market plays without burning a ton of money, and that's one of my biggest gripes in Eve, is that it's really hard to play Eve for 15 minutes, and it's really hard not to play Eve every single day, and especially if you are the kind of guy who's got a full-time job to deal with, or a full-time family to deal with, then this gets super difficult to keep on top of week after week. And like the fact that I could go into the meta personally, like that's the way I was able to keep in, is that um, I'm not going to write bots for the real game, because I'm not going to spend that kind of energy to cheat. Like that, I find no joy in cheating. But like I can write tools that make it so I can do news, and that fit into my schedule. I'm hoping tools like atomforeve.eu are really excellent, and those that's a pretty new tool. So if you wanted to get in at some of the data at a single item level, that's a really excellent tool. And then I really like Eve Mogul for accounting, but you do need to be able to trade a couple billion a month to justify the account fees there. It's not hard to hit those targets, in my opinion, as long as you're willing to like start with if you can get to a 5 billion-esque trading purse, then the fees at Eve Mogul really make sense. But if you're sub that and you still don't know what you're really doing, you're probably just throwing good money against bad kind of thing. The things I like to do are the sort of things you can get into a routine with, but it definitely starts to scale linearly with how much stuff, and like I said, it's easy if you're willing to do like an hour a day. There's a ton of stuff you can do. There's a ton of great uh, professions you can do that let you do an hour a day, 5 days a week. Um, but there's not a lot of things that let you do, like weekend warrioring becomes difficult, for instance, where you got to be washed out by Monday, or you got to get lucky on the week over week kind of stuff. Um, like PI really needs a 2 to 3 day check cycle. The industry really needs you to be flipping orders just about every day. PvP thankfully doesn't take every day. You just have to make sure there's a fleet for you with shit to do. But um, and I personally had some luck with cross market arbitrage stuff where I just baked in the fact that I was going to have a 1 to 2 day lag between when I bought something and when I could even sell it, because I was relying on shippers to get it moved around. But I really need to be on top of those markets almost every day to make sure that, oh, well, do I need to refresh this? Do I need to double down on this order? Yes, no, maybe. Oh, I got to take a week off. I really should just close all my orders because by the time I come back, I don't have confidence that what I bought in at is going to still be a good idea 10 days down the road or something. So I feel your pain. I wish I had better answers, because yeah, it's hard. The biggest tips I have, though, for people who want to get into it, the so number one is specializing in a meta is the secret of success across Eve, right? Like you're not going to be able to fly every single ship and not really know the difference between. Uh, no person really can jump straight in from nothing to doing small gang and big fleet and FC and capital ops. Like you wouldn't go try to do all that. And same for, you wouldn't try to become both good at level 4s and incursions and wormholes and nullsec ratting all at the same time. Though they might share a common root, like they have much that like everything just works completely differently. So number one is pick a thing worth specializing in. I like markets like the Moon Goo markets personally because I think there's enough complexity and volatility to speculate in them. That's one of my personal favorites. There's also high meta markets is another slice to look at. Things like faction warfare drops is one big group. Really high meta stuff like the pirate drops, and stuff like that is another decent meta, and you'd be surprised how easy it is to get into stuff like some of the more niche items like faction webs or faction scrams or the high faction afterburners and shit. Like there's some cool speculation you can do up there, but it takes some research. Let's see what other ones. I don't like telling newbies to go speculate into minerals, just because they're really expensive markets, and they don't move very fast. So things like that and Plex are not newbie friendly. We'll see with the new Plex if that changes, but I don't have very high hopes. But like, or another good one is the higher end of PI can be a lot of fun to speculate in because it moves just fast enough to be interesting. And it gives you the benefit of, if you have the ability, you can leverage some newer people and they can basically broker through you to make the money. I really like drugs. Drugs are an amazing market, but they're really complicated to get into. It requires a lot of pavement pounding, though, so do be warned. But like I said, it really comes down to the research and owning one market will really do it for you. Number two, after you understand a market, after you're willing to jump in on the industry or jump in on trade or jump in on shipping, next thing you really got to know is volume. Volume is what makes or breaks you. Because and we'll see here when I go back to Jita, that I have a bunch of stuff that's worth a lot, but the volumes are so low that it ends up not really being worth the time, or it takes forever to get paid, and nobody wants to be there. You don't want to be here with like a magic number in your wallet and never actually cashing that out, because you know what? Whatever number it says here at the bottom of your wallet is funny money until it actually shows up here at the top. Like this whole interface is fucking pointless until the actual balance number comes through. And so, looking for markets with high volume not only give you enough people to compete against and with, it lets you use the volume to your advantage, because the other thing people don't want to do, corollary 2B, is that nobody wants to play the 01S game. That's for robots and tryhards and people stuck in their basement forever. You don't want to play the 01S game. The 01S game sucks. But if you get something where you're only providing maybe 10% of the margin, 10% of the volume on any given day, well, it's very easy to be at the front of the line, get cleared out when somebody buys a whole bunch, and have your money already counting and walking off to the bank, while some other jackass who's trying to take over 50-60% of the market has to sit there and fight with the other tryhards making up the rest of the pie, and you already have your cash and you're already on to the next thing. Like that's the big thing that got me was like you could chase the biggest margin in anywhere, and it doesn't mean anything until you get paid. I wish I knew why this guy made energy capital gravity capacitors. Like, seriously. Yes, I'm actually logged in for reals, and not just being a space camera. Yeah, I'm sitting here with Eve Praisel trying to figure out what's actually worth shipping. So that when I go ship this back, like, I'm actually doing something that's worth my time. I think that's the last one I can really carry. Again, sorry guys, but life walks on. I would love to keep doing this forever, but until I get a sponsorship that that means I can quit my real job, my day job, I gotta go do other stuff. Yeah, and again, pro tip, and this doesn't seem to have been very widely spread. Use courier contracts because your time is precious. So we're getting probably to the end here. It's going to be about lunchtime here. I want to thank everybody who tuned in. I hope you got your questions answered. If you were still interested in learning more, do look at the links down below. There should be links to join the our Discord. I appreciate everybody who is so surprised I'm actually playing Eve. Thanks again. Look forward to this week's show on Thursday at 0300. That's Friday night. That's Friday night 0300 Eve time. That's Thursday night US time. If you enjoy the show, do get subscribed. Do join us on the thing. We should have more news coming out soon. I'm desperately trying to get the Plex split ready for the Plex split. I unfortunately did not get as much code done on that as I would have liked to, thanks to 01 Isking. But again, if you have questions, again, come join the Discord. If you want to know more, get subscribed, and we'll be back very soon. So I'm going to give you guys my 5-minute warning for getting all set up here. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And I'm sorry if you guys didn't get the thing, and I'm sorry that I'm retiring, but like I said, it's time to go do bigger and better things. And it's time for other people to stand in my shoes and support. If you really miss me that much, you should consider supporting launching out on your own, making your own thing. And because to be honest, I've been making it up the whole time. So don't be afraid to go do it yourself. And the worst you can do is lose some space money. So that's fine. No more questions, no more stuff. Might as well, I guess, end the thing here. I would love for someone else to make hay while the sun shines, because, again, everybody's so worried about losing that they don't even get in playing, and you can't win the lottery unless you play. Like, it's all like the worst that happens is you'll lose some space money, and honestly, it's pretty easy to make sure that your losses are very small digits and your gains are larger digits. It just takes effort and time and energy. thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. I'm going to try and do hopefully one more of these this month. I'm out next weekend, out and about, but perhaps the weekend after that. We'll see where we end up being ahead of the Memorial Day weekend. So thank you again, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm going to go end the show here.